It's a big day in global politics, as Turks will head to the polls to vote on a new constitution. If the historic referendum is passed, it would dramatically increase the powers of President Erdogan. Earlier today, I sat down with Bloomberg's Istanbul reporter Isobel Finkel, who broke down the vote and what's at stake for Turkey.
On Sunday, Turks go to the polls again for the fifth time since early 2014. This time, they're voting to change their entire system of government. Basically, that's the short answer. They're voting on a new constitution that would concentrate even more power in the hands of President Erdogan and would abolish the role of the prime minister. So yes, it would turn Turkey into a executive presidency rather than parliamentary democracy.
So this is a pretty radical change that they're voting on. What are the polls saying at the moment about which way it's likely to go?
Well, at the moment, polls have yes just ever so slightly in the lead. But that hasn't been the case in polls that came out as recently as last week. It looked like no was ahead. And really, I mean, they're kind of neck and neck, and the margin of error is large enough that either result wouldn't surprise, really, and it could definitely go either way. I mean, there's an added source of uncertainty in the last few days because many government officials, including an advisor to the president who we spoke to this morning, are making statements to the effect that a no vote wouldn't actually mean no necessarily. They're saying there could be another referendum where Turks get to vote again on a slightly tweaked constitutional proposal that would still have President Erdogan at the heart of it. So, too close to call, but no doesn't necessarily mean no.
Is this just a simple referendum on whether people like Erdogan or not, or are there other factors and coalitions that sort of might determine how this goes?
Well, you're right in that the president has very much made it about himself, but the opposition have been trying very hard not to make it about them. Of course, President Erdogan's incredibly popular, charismatic leader. He's proved that by winning, a number of elections in the last decade. First, he was mayor of Istanbul, then he was prime minister for 11 and a half years, and then he became Turkey's first popularly elected president in late 2014. So winning elections against him is really hard, and the opposition know that. They've been trying very hard not to make it about him, but, by and large, Turks know that really is what it's about.
Let's talk about the markets for a moment. The Turkish lira has not been a particularly strong performing currency. Do we have any sense about what the preference of international investors and traders would be in terms of the outcome?
Well, if you listen to government ministers, yes, the answer is very clear. Markets are hoping for a yes vote, and that's what they say that the people are going to deliver. But it's a little bit more mixed than that, I would say. I mean, we may well see a relief rally on Monday if yes does prevail, because, more power for President Erdogan, that's kind of a known quantity. But as I say, we may have early general elections after that, even in the event of a yes vote. So this may not be the end of political uncertainty that everyone is touting it as. On the other hand, no really does plunge us into something resembling the unknown. So the markets may not take very kindly to that, but whatever does happen, I mean, we might see some outsized moves because, as you know, on Monday, European markets are closed. So whichever direction markets do swing, those moves could really be accentuated.
But the theory would be that markets would like a yes vote if for no other reason than it would be a sign of stability and a known quantity outcome.
Yes, I would say that's the case. I mean, you called the vote, you said that people were voting on a radical change to Turkey's political system. Of course, that is true in a way. There's an entire new constitution in the offing. But on the other hand, Turkey has been in a state of emergency since July's failed coup attempt. I mean, under the new constitution, President Erdogan has the power to elect, high-ranking judicial officials. He gets to rule by decree, but right now we're in a state of emergency where that's basically already the case. So in a sense, it's not such of a stark change, and so maybe markets would prefer the status quo.
Staying on markets, we mentioned the lira has not been particularly strong, but the Turkish stock market has been doing well. What is or who is the dude that's been popping up in stories as contributing to this strong performance?
Well, the dude, it's a phenomenon that needs a little bit of unpacking. The dude first reared his head, whether it's a he or a she, we don't know, but whoever's behind these trades started being known in Turkish markets as the dude, I guess early 2016, when Bloomberg first wrote about this phenomenon, and basically huge trades were being huge bets were being put on Turkish stocks, and basically dictating the direction of the market, leaving everyone else trailing in its wake. People started nicknaming this mysterious trader the dude, and everyone is kind of paying very close attention to which way the dude swings. On Monday, for instance, Turkish markets rose 3.1%. The main benchmark index rose 3.1%, more than any other index in the world. People were looking for sort of macro factors that might explain this, and indeed politicians said, oh, this is definitely a bet on a yes outcome in the referendum. Well, we looked at the data, and it seems that almost half of buy orders on that day came through one single brokerage that's known to be favored by the dude. So the dude is again at large, and we'll see what happens on Monday.